What's going on, family? It's your girl Guruji Chastity, and I got something special for us, right? We expound and expanding, right? We've been on the whiteboard videos, in which they still coming. I got a new one this week, but today we are diving deep into some Patreon courses, and the first course is going to be beginning Reiki. And so I wanted to discuss my knowledge and wisdom as I've become a Reiki master teacher, and how Reiki can be of use to the everyday person who doesn't want a Reiki attunement, but to those out there who are interested in receiving Reiki by becoming or learning Reiki to become a Reiki master or a Reiki master practitioner, or just to have a level 1 Reiki attunement where you're able to give Reiki to yourself, friends, and family. And so in this course, this is going to be the first class of a 10 class course in which we are going to talk about all things Reiki. And in the course, I'm going to be having particular lectures where I'm sharing and I'm providing presentations, but I'll also be sitting down with other Reiki master practitioners and other Reiki master teachers. All right, family. So this is going to be the first class in which we are going to be discussing what is Reiki. Welcome, family, to the Abundant Living Gurukul Academy. Today's class is going to be about what is Reiki. Let's get into it. All right, so the contents of this class are going to be sixfold, 6 different points. So let's look into it. Number 1, what is Reiki? What's the mystery behind this alternative healing technique, right? What's all this pizzazz about? Number 2, defining qualities of Reiki. We're going to look at 3 things that make Reiki, well, Reiki. And then number 3 is going to be what happens during a Reiki session. It's like, yo, I'm still really curious. Like, I hear you, sis, but I need to see it for myself. And it's like, okay, boom, I got you. Number 4, it's going to be why utilize Reiki. It's like, okay, boom, I get it, I see it, but how is this useful in my everyday life? And we're going to cover that. Number 5, Reiki exercise. So boom, we are going to do a hands-on activity right here together where you're going to be able to feel the energy of Reiki for yourself. And number 6, last but not least, I'm going to give y'all some shout outs, some time to figure out how to stay in touch with the kid. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or you just want to connect, we got space for that as well. Oh, yeah. So let's talk about who you're listening to, who you're talking to. And that's little Ruji, little young Ruji right there. So I am Guruji Chastity, a spiritual success coach. I utilize my training as a Reiki master teacher and registered yoga instructor to communicate the importance of self-study. I have contracted with the universe to have the opportunity to come down and be here right now to live out this experience by communicating. And so that doesn't mean I'm here to reinvent the wheel of communication, but I do know that I have a particular gift to absorb information and share it with others where it's more tangible, it's more digestible, and it's more relatable. Some of the best comments that I've ever gotten, or just feedback, was that it felt like they were getting information or knowledge from a cousin. And that's what we're here to do. I'm just really here to communicate some very important, life-altering information that we're not really told. And I'm here to do so without fear-mongering or without making anyone feel inferior or making myself feel superior. And so we're just here to communicate and connect, family. Boom. Important information, right? So this full class video will be available at www.patreon.com/Guruji Chastity. And it'll be available at the adept level, which means that's going to be the highest tier. It's going to be, so you can get all of these full course classes for just $20 a month. And this is one class out of a 10 class course. So the entire course where I'm going to be discussing Reiki itself is going to be 10 classes, and this is just the first class. The first 10 minutes will always be available on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, right? But you're going to be able to watch the full video only on Patreon, family. Only on Patreon. And so I suggest that you just study at your own pace. I'm going to release this information once a week. And so as you get the information once a week may not be enough to pick up and provide coherence, right? To be able to take on the skills. Like sometimes we need practice, right? We don't become a superstar in basketball by practicing once. Like I watched that video, or I went to practice once, and then next week I'm out here shaking and baking. It don't work like that. So be sure to study at your own pace, family. All right, so let's get into it. So, number one, as I mentioned as we began, we're going to discuss what is Reiki. That's what this entire presentation is about. Just uncovering the mystery about what Reiki is. So let's peep game, family. Okay, so boom. Let's begin by looking at the etymology of the word Reiki. And so we're going to break down the word into its root meanings so that we can have a better grasp on what this word is actually attempting to convey to us. And so when we look at the first portion of the word, which is Rei, that means the whole of creation, right? The whole of creation being a blade of grass, the air we breathe, the grasshopper, the person next to you, right? The entirety of creation, right? Everything that is spirit itself, that is God, that is consciousness. And then Ki is going to be vital life force energy, also known as the breath, right? And so how we look at that is that Ki is going to be the energy, the force that animates life. And a good example would be the whole of creation of something itself could be a toaster, right? The toaster is the toaster. It is the whole of itself. But the toaster doesn't work unless it's plugged into the wall and receives electricity, energy, force, which is the Ki, right? And so when we have the word toaster, we know that the toaster is not an idle thing. It needs different things for it to work. And that's what the breakdown of looking at this word is. And so we know that Reiki itself is the animation of consciousness, right? The animation of consciousness. And we all have the ability to practice Reiki as a divine right because we are all a part of creation, right? Every one of us is a part of creation, and every one of us is animated through life force energy from creation, right? Which means so that in itself should give you a big woo-saw to where it let's not make this a worldly thing where, oh my God, I have to get all of the study and all of the knowledge before I'll be a great Reiki master or just be able to practice Reiki for my friends and family, whatever the case may be. Let's not look at it like that. And so what we begin to understand is that for the everyday being, Reiki is a tangible way to stay connected to source and really heal yourself, right? But for the Reiki practitioner, those same benefits are expounded and enhanced. And then there's an additional element of being able to help others that becomes a major factor. So that is like the basic information about what Reiki is and how we can really expect to experience it on the different levels in which Reiki exists. And so again, we all have the ability to practice Reiki. It is the Reiki attunements that allow us to enhance the impact of the energy that we received. And so, for instance, you can have a toaster that only goes up to about 50 degrees, and that would be Reiki level 1 attunement. Or you say you can have a toaster, let's say this toaster can heat up until about 150 degrees. That's going to be your level Reiki 2 attunement in which you become a practitioner. But then let's say you got a toaster oven that go up into about 350 degrees, right? That's going to be your Reiki master, in which you just have more access to the power and to the energy, right? But you're still a part of the creation as a whole. And so I hope that's some exciting information for those of us out there who are curious about Reiki. I know that for me, when I read about Reiki, it was just like, what do these attunements mean? Why do I need the attunements? And so the more I learned, the more I studied, the more I received my own attunements, the more it made sense, right? And so boom, let's look at the second phase of our information here, which is going to be defining qualities of Reiki. And so if you follow my other studies, you know that I'm very big on the 7 laws of the universe. I can't fall for this trap. body play this loud, then let it slap. Get that Nova, wait for around me to say I'm mad. But I know that I say study thyself, and they get mad. Oh.